lady.
Good morning, everyone, and look who's to my left again. I think he's rooted to the spot. I didn't tell him I put some glue on this.
Well, good morning, viewers. It's Teddie's People here on a Monday, bright and early. Well, early-ish.
Yeah,
If you're still in bed, it's early.
yeah. And we've got the other member of the team here, Pam. Good morning, Pam.
Morning, Pam.
There she is.
There he is.
Bright and early. Well done.
The Wonder Woman of Lewis.
Zoom. It's all clean. Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
How are you,
How is
Mr.
the
Keith?
boss?
How are you, Mr. Keith? All right?
Yeah, not too bad. Had a good weekend. About you?
Lovely. Oh, yeah, well, mine's always a good weekend. Always a good weekend.
Yeah.
You know, on the plus side, I was going to be doing a full Premiership review today, the season kicking off in just under 2 weeks' time, but I'm going to leave it the full review till next Monday. It will be a Premier League show, I think, next week. I'll be going through all the editions of every team in the Premiership. My team, of course, the mighty Fulham. We are signing players right, left and centre. No centre backs, though, unfortunately, not yet. But this weekend we put into motion getting the signing of Shay Charles, the Northern Ireland international defensive midfielder. Young lad again, fitting new Alvaro Arbola's jigsaw. He's building in the Fulham midfield. O'Shea follows Palacios from the mighty Real Madrid. Again, 20-year-old. And, of course, his mate up front, Gonzalo Garcia. Again, another young lad. But according to our new manager, the best striker in the world already. And he's not even played a competitive game yet for the mighty Fulham, turning out at Craven Cottage, of course, on Monday the 24th, where I shall be in the crowd as usual. There, I got my.
Why aren't you going to be in the press room?
I got my season ticket downloaded. They sent, well, not my season ticket.
He's a man of the people, not of the press.
But I am going to be on the terraces the first game, and I shall be getting fellow fans' predictions for the season live onto my my Mirador, my StreamYard app, which of course transmits all of Mirador World stuff. The marvelous, So anyway, that's StreamYard. Our the people at Hope that actually send out our show direct to all you punters out and viewers and aliens, wherever you watch us, whether it's on this planet or the next planet or the planet after. So we are not only worldwide, but we're space-wide as well. You know? So sort of like it just goes cosmic, really.
Yeah, I see little green men going into his apartment.
Yeah. And now, of course, the morning show this morning is we continue with the last piece of Keith's life story. I think you were just going out after your Russian adventure to Kosovo, wasn't you?
I got the thing out of kilter a little bit because I was in Kosovo before Russia. I actually went to Kosovo when we were doing my notes. I went to Kosovo at the turn of the century. I went there in 2000.
Oh, right.
And it was a brand new century, a brand new venture, and very exciting it turned out to be. But then all these adventures turned out to be exciting, and it was some trepidation. I wonder if I could just give you the lead up to Kosovo, because with people like me, you know, the word goes out. Okay, Mr. Keating's available to do this, that, and the other, and I actually was being pursued by a group in Atlanta in the United States to go and look after their business program, business channel. And these people could not determine the difference between $1 and £1. So negotiations were very difficult.
Well, it would. That makes sense to a layman like myself.
Yeah. Well, £1 is not $1.
Well, we know that.
Yeah, I mean, I just actually exchange rate is pretty good at the moment. £100 I checked on the exchange rate this morning is $130 US.
Well,
Not bad, eh?
that's not bad at all.
No, it's not.
Not bad at all.
But anyway, I came home and my wife said, there was an American on the phone. And I said, yeah, bloody lot. And she said, well, he's going to call back in an hour. So I said, yeah, well, I better take the call. I don't like being rude. Anyway, it wasn't the Atlanta lot. It was the boss of the organization that had USAID projects in Europe, all Europe. And he said, I understand you want to go to Kosovo. I said, I do? And he said, well, this is what we're offering. And I went downstairs and I said to my wife, we're going to reconsider this. The rate was very, very good. And the support that you got. So anyway, I started to negotiate. And about a month later, found myself on the plane. British Airways still flew there. On the plane from Gatwick to Pristina. And I got off the plane and I was met by some very nice people. Put into a Jeep with a driver. I thought, this is your Jeep. I got to chauffeur.
So one thing common in all your life is you've always had drivers waiting for you at the airport.
Yes.
I wish I ever knew what that was like, really, to be honest with you, because how nice. That is telling me that and telling you that you've arrived when you have drivers waiting for you when you fly into a country.
I'll tell you what, your heart was always in your mouth is Romania. And Romania was a very, very strange country because Ceausescu had done such a good job at cutting them off. They didn't quite understand how the rest of the world worked. So, unfortunately, you could get to Bucharest Airport and you'd have to look around to find your driver. And when you're in a strange country, particularly one with a history of violence, you think twice, you know, hey, hang on. So the violence, because the war, the Kosovo War, had only just ended. And so I was very relieved that I got a driver. But it was a spring runoff. And we went through tons and tons of mud driving in from the airport to the city.
Hence a Jeep.
Yeah, in a Jeep. And I thought, I agreed to come here.
Where am I?
Yeah. But I was put into the famous Europa Hotel, all called Europa in the centre of these places. And it was a lovely old-fashioned hotel. Your food came with, silver salver.
Really?
Oh yeah, and a man who looked like a penguin.
What was that? He did out. What is that? The suit he was wearing or something?
Is what, sorry?
Is that the suit he was wearing?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, that is all very old-fashioned. And so was the food, and it was delicious. It was fantastic.
And how long did you stay there for?
I was in the hotel for about a week
Oh, right, nice.
before they found me a place. And when they found me a place, it was a lovely place, run by a couple who were teachers. It had a little lounge. It had a piano. I don't play the piano, but it had a piano. The lady acted as a maid, made my bed and all that sort of stuff. So yes, I was very well suited. And the man who initially was my driver was called Billy. And Billy was always there in the morning whenever I went out to go to the office. So all in all, it was a very satisfactory situation, really. Except that the office was awful. It was just an old house that had been thrown together. People were falling over one another. So I put out a search for new premises. And I had a Brit with me called David Bellin. And David is, God bless him, he's still around, but he retired now. But David went out.
And what was he? David Bellin.
He was my deputy.
Oh, right, okay. So he was experienced like yourself.
In some ways, yeah. He actually been at one of the television stations that lost their license, like LWC. A lot of them were thrown onto the market. And he actually ended his days, once we were back here, as the boss of Racing UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was a big channel right up to even in the noughties.
Yes,
2000
yes, yeah.
Racing channel was on.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure whether it's still on now.
There's a form of it, I think.
Yeah, but not
So
as.
everything's changed in many ways.
Yeah, I remember that because because I spent a lot of my life in betting shops and stuff, and people always mention the racing channel, and of course you used to be able to get it on terrestrial TV as well. If I remember
yes,
right.
Right, you should. He does a very good job, actually. For it. The trouble with these channels is that they are multi-owned. 10 race horses or 20 race horses or whatever. And nobody can ever agree. And if you're the chief executive putting together this thing, you've got a real problem in your hands. It's a very uncomfortable situation. It's a bit like being the boss of this place. Yeah, lots of responsibilities, lots of different ideas, lots of dissent.
And presenters that really like to kick ass.
That's right, yeah. But anyway...
and this was all before Russia Today.
Yes.
But we did Russia Today last week.
Yes, we did. I'm sorry. That was my fault, really.
No, it's not. No, it's all right. A man of your age, I can understand you having forgetting stuff when you've done as much as you have, Keith.
Yeah, it's strange enough. It seems like yesterday. It was 25 years ago.
Yeah. This is what happens when you get a nosy Parker like me interviewing you.
Well, I mean, that's your strength, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You ask all the right questions.
Yeah.
Anyway, David came back and said, I found the ideal place. It's right in the heart of the town, and Christina is not very big. It's quite a small capital city. Right in the heart of the town. It's got lots of space, and it's owned by a barber who, when he found out it was you and us, said, "Oh God, yeah, I'd love to have you." He said, so we're not going to have any problem with the landlord. So I went and took a look at this place, and it was ideal, and right in the heart of town. And I suddenly had a great big office to myself and a great big table, and I sat there in splendor.
In the splendour.
But then I had the job of sorting out the staff, because the staff had been put together by, a few people in the USA and so on and so forth. And the first thing I found, and this was slightly called with you, because you advise people on, how to handle finances and so on.
Of course, yeah.
Is my finance guy wore military trousers, a pocket here, a pocket here, a pocket here. People can't see it. Those trousers with pockets up the leg.
Oh, and he kept different amounts in each pocket.
That's right. And his idea of paying bills was to say, money from this pocket, put in this pocket. And the place was in something else. It was, we got $6 million. We had no idea where we were spending $5 million.
And which pocket it was in.
Yeah, that's right. I just cut off his
It's a whole new meaning to cash flow, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does.
But it started something very interesting, Teddiie. First of all, most of these countries that came out of authoritarian rule were very anti-women, male-dominated. So, and full of rumors. People were coming in and telling me who I was hiring before I even met them. I said, hang on, we're going to do this properly. So we did, and we put out an ad and so on, and we got a group of people. And I said to David, look, I don't want to do 16 or 18. I don't want to do all 16 or 18. You do the first round, and I'll see the last 3 or 4. And he said, the very best one is a lady. And he said that I don't think that you're going to like her very much. So anyway, I said, well, I'm going to see her anyway. And she came in, and she more or less said early in the interview, don't you worry, I'm going to fix you as well.
Yeah, you've already told me and our viewers about this already.
Is that right?
Yeah, you have already.
Yeah, well, she was, and she's a friend even today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But tell me where to stop, you've heard before, because it is one of the things that you very quickly find out is if you mention a Serb, you're in trouble.
Yes.
Because it was a very divided society.
Yes.
The Serbs had been in charge of Kosovo for several decades. They hadn't been particularly kind. And this new freedom didn't sit easily with the Albanian Kosovars. So there was Serb Kosovo, Albanian Kosovo. Now, I think I told you this too. One of the things that impressed me was, even though now the country was 90% Muslim,
yeah,
they would not allow the burqa in their schools.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Fantastic. Everything is Albanian, is Muslim, governments and so on and so forth, and they would not allow the burqa in their schools. And I thought, God, these people need helping. They're worth helping.
Well, yeah, and that surely means it just shows how much of a male domination society also, doesn't it? Really?
Yes.
Because really the idea is to keep females not to be distinctive in any way, but just to keep women in their place. Right. Which basically it's happened in Western society as well, hasn't it? Really, in so many instances, it probably still goes on today in certain industries. Not so much now in in broadcasting, because now you get more and more female presenters presenting the news, for instance.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, to me, that isn't the issue, Teddy. What I would like to see is them being properly trained. Because they're not.
Yeah, we
You
know.
know, they're awful.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the BBC as well, let me
Yeah.
tell you. Publicly, I'll tell you, the BBC has stopped training their people. Now, when did I've said this before as well. When did I last go up to you and say, Teddy, it's very good to see you this morning at last? You do it all the time.
Mm.
Because they're trying to fill the time.
Of course, exactly.
That should not be the way to fill the time.
Exactly, yeah.
You're talking to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way they keep with auto cues, and so that they don't run over their time and don't finish early either, because that's as important.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, right now we did your Russia Today adventure last week, and if you missed it, viewers, it is on the website Mirador World to be found. So after your Russian adventure, you must have been what, late 50s?
Yeah. I went. It spread over 3 years. So it was about 2009 before I stopped going to Russia. So how old would I have been then?
Well, you were
59.
born in,
I was
you were. I thought about 59.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. 59.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then when you got back, what was the next port of call in your?
I then
career?
went through a series of countries. Romania, and I said to you,
Yeah.
I did not like Romania particularly, but nonetheless, it was an interesting country.
And that's where you met the couple on the mountain, had the picnic, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
You told us last week.
The bears. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the other interesting things is, if I didn't tell you, is out in the country in the Transylvanian mountains. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And there was one town called Brasov. And the little Saxon village there, they kept intact. And this Saxon village was very important because we've all heard the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Right? You've heard the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah. Right.
Donovan wrote a song about it, I believe.
Oh, is that right, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And basically, the Pied Piper was hired because he was a master of the flute. And the town was infested with rats. And he came along and he played his flute, and the rats all followed him out, and he jumped them in a mountain lake.
Yes, yeah.
But then they wouldn't pay him.
It's sod law, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
So he went back and he played, and he got all their children following him. And he stole all their children. And the town was childless.
It could have been worse. He could have brought the rats back.
Yeah, he could have done, couldn't he? Yeah.
Well, he could, couldn't he? He could have got his pipe out again and said to the rats, we go back.
Yeah, well, I was thinking drown them, you see. Yeah.
We're doing a bit of a job.
Yeah. But all I can tell you is there are a couple of restaurants in the square in Brasov that are just marvellous. Just wonderful restaurants. Can I, this goes back to Serbia and Kosovo. There is a wine in Serbia, and because it borders on Kosovo, it spreads. And it is called Veronat. And you're not a wine drinker.
No, I'm not, no.
But I would give this wine to you, and you would say, I'll have more of that.
Yeah, well,
it's a wonderful, wonderful wine.
Unfortunately, wine drinking is an acquired taste.
Well, I suppose it is.
Well, to be honest. And plus, I've always been
a beer drinker.
A beer drinker.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way about beer as you do about wine.
Yeah, actually, Teddy, I can remember saying to a man called Chicorino in Northern Ireland, he ran a bar, a strange enough, called Chicks. And Chick was pouring a glass of wine. And I said, you know, Chick, do you think wine drinking will ever take over beer drinking? Yeah, he said, yeah. And he was a publisher. Now, it took years, but because you find now our Black Horse, which is famous in many ways because it's got a good beer range.
Oh, it has.
Right, yeah.
Very, yeah.
But it's also got an excellent wine range.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
I don't doubt
yeah.
it. Knowing that,
It's the balance of shape.
well, of course, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he caters for all sorts.
Yeah.
He's very good at it. Very
Oh,
good at
he's
his
very
job.
good at his job. Very
Yes.
good indeed. We're
Yeah.
very lucky to have that pub near us.
Oh, yeah, without a
It's only
doubt.
nice to get there.
Well, yeah, if you
Yeah.
could get there, it'd be a blessing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a plus, wouldn't it? Really?
But
But don't worry.
he's working on getting me back.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You couldn't ask for a better co-presenter, really, because he treats you very nicely. I mean, he calls me sir and salutes. And
look, you know what? Look, it's not about me, Steve. It's about you now. Now, after Romania,
Yeah.
you,
One thing that's nice about Teddy is he laughs his way through his program.
exactly.
And you know, on a Monday morning, it's time to laugh and set the tone for
Well,
the week,
cool.
isn't it? Yeah.
You know, I start every day with a laugh.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
after
He's a splendid fellow, actually.
after you, look, it's about you, Keith. So now, when you got back from Romania after 3 years, it's just when you had the idea of Mirador started?
Oh, no, Mirador was much later than that because in between time, I then went back to Bosnia for a year.
Oh, right.
And that was a very unhappy time because the people who had been hired were the daughters and husbands and wives of the key players, whole families.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you know what that's like.
Yes, indeed.
And what they did was they just carved everything up, and they went specifically to what they thought were the rules from Brussels. So, for instance, they said we want a press conference. I said, okay, right, we organise a press conference. Mr. Keith, you have sent out invitations on a press release. Here's the form you can use. And I said, no, this invites people to lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Mr. Keith. Are you giving them lunch? No. But why do you want this one? Because Brussels says so. Brussels says so. Brussels says so. Brussels says so. But one of the things that I did find was there was an Anglican or the services in English cathedral right in the middle of where am I? Yes,
In Bosnia.
In Bosnia.
And all the families were like a cartel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's Bosnia Herzegovina. Once again, beautiful. Teddiie Ashdown had been there just before me, and in fact, my driver was Teddiie Ashdown's driver. So I got a little bit of insight into the man.
Oh, into Teddiie, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, ex-serviceman as well.
Yes, absolutely. He did a very good job there in many ways, because they were afraid of him. They weren't afraid of me.
No. Well, I would imagine.
I was just another,
another hack.
Yeah.
You're just another hack as
Yeah.
far as they were concerned. But Teddiie Ashdown was a man that did carry some political weight as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Probably the last Liberal leader that did carry any real clout, I think, personally.
But I did discover two very good restaurants. One was called the Linden Tree, but that one boasted, and quite rightly, that Bill Clinton liked it.
Oh, really?
Bill Clinton had designed there.
What, with Monica Lewinsky?
Well, I didn't ask about Monica.
I would have done.
Yes, I know. The things which is sensitive areas, you find that you. But it was a very good restaurant, and I became a regular, so they looked after me very well. And the other was right in the centre square, and it was tucked away. You have to know about it to find it, called the Bosnia Kitchen, and the food there was absolutely first class. So it was country food.
Yeah.
The sort of food that you would get in Mama's kitchen.
Yeah.
And I met some very nice people there who became friends. And if it wasn't for them, I think I would have gone mad.
So whereas it was a year, it was a long year.
It was a long year
because of the families.
Yeah. I mean, they
sound like the Kardashians. They're another family that are huge, apparently. Not that I know much about them. They're just, again, TV icons, I think what they call them on popular TV.
Right.
You know?
I'm sure that there's a similarity.
Yeah.
And I didn't like going down to the centre of power at all.
So how did you cope with the families in the? Is that well? You're only there for a year?
Yeah. Well, the only thing, I mean, there were obviously a lot of clashes. But I was there to make sure that things were done according to international press standards. And that's what they didn't like. They wanted to do it according to their idea of what
so regulation, really.
Yeah.
Making sure that they kept within the regulations of broadcasting.
Well, that was my job.
Yeah, that was your
what they did was they interpreted those regulations in a very different way.
Well,
and
of course, that's generally people in charge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
In life today, it seems to me that, and certainly politics today, that regulations, politicians interpret them in whatever way they want.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
these weren't even good politicians. They were just families. They managed to take over because they'd been the leading families at the time of independence.
Yeah.
One interesting thing is, Teddy, an election was called towards the end of my tenure there, and 3 years later, they still hadn't formed a government.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, that was how difficult the situation was.
Well, thankfully, in this country, they're a bit more organised than that, even though it seems like chaos 2 years after.
Yeah.
So you were there for a year, and that was just a year to try and get them to conform to.
Yeah, to try to implement these things.
And then you did a radio show as well.
Not in Bosnia, I didn't.
What did you do? Any broadcasting in Bosnia?
No. I.
You were there purely as background.
Well, actually, all the media look at you as you really are very powerful.
Yeah.
Of course. You're like Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful how you mix it with them, because you could go too far.
You have to be a little bit soft.
But I supervise training courses for journalists. I brought in specialists from people I knew, had worked with, to try to do specialized things. But they said the same thing, whereas they worked in Kosovo with me, they did not feel easy in Bosnia.
No.
And from Bosnia, I think I went to Africa.
Blimey, complete change of the scenery, continent,
attitudes,
of course. Yeah.
And Africa was very interesting.
Which part of Africa?
Well, we were in Nigeria, but we only did a bit in Abuja, which is the capital.
Yeah.
And not a very interesting place. They moved the capital from Lagos to Abuja and built it, they thought, like Washington, D.C., which meant they didn't really have a heart. You know. In fact, this is where I tried a great big snail, great big snails like that, and they carved bits off it. And
that
I had
was big
this,
escargot then, wasn't it?
right?
That was big escargot.
Oh, it was huge. I'd never seen anything like it. The only thing is, it didn't like being eaten, and it fought back in the middle of the night. But I stayed in a very old hotel there that did things in the old way, and they actually, if I may, at some stage, we also leaped to India, which is while I was still at Reuters and Reuters Foundation. But this hotel is very solicitous and looked after you in. But it was a hotel in India that was marvelous because I went down to the swimming pool in the heat of the day, gin and tonic, which I began sipping and finishing. And the heat of the day is enormous in Delhi, and I nodded off to sleep. And I woke up, and the glass was in my hand, absolutely full of gin and tonic again.
I've seen that pose from yourself, actually. Yeah, so yes, even Tracy, when she came over, knew that pose from you when you fall asleep and you never spill a drop. That really is an art. That really is. That commentator's sleep, not I. It's commentator's sleep. And he wakes up and finishes off the wine. Amazing, Mr. Keith. He really is.
Anyway, our route was our first route was to journalists in a place called Jamataru, and secondly, we then were going right the other way down to the south coast to Calabar. But going to Jamataru, just going there was fascinating in itself. You climb out towards a plateau, out of the temperate, and you start to go into the real Africa, the Africa of Tarzan and the apes and so on. And as you go along, you see fascinating things. Little villages, they've all got their little pond outside. They've all got their cows and oxen. And we went past a couple where there were crowds, and the driver, who was from that area, said, they're electing a chief today. So democracy was very, very much in vogue there. But we pulled into a petrol station to get some bananas and milk to sustain us. And here were hundreds of little black kids. Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Not quite ready to go to school. So they swarmed around the Jeep. And they're looking in, and then suddenly somebody stops me. There's a white man in here, a white man. Oh, and then they really flocked around. And they're all looking and so on, so it was this strange apparition. And one of them was very daring, and he put his hand to the window and he wanted to see if the white would rub off. But on the way back, and this is frightening, and it shows you the sort of underbelly that you have to deal with. On the way back, it was a different time of day, and there were lots of young girls there, 10, 11, 12, and they're beautiful. These young African girls are beautiful. And I said to the driver, these are really beautiful, beautiful children. And he said, yeah, and the tragedy is they will be married by the end of this year. Because the chiefs will say them at 10, 11, and 12. He said, they get a venereal disease, they can't carry their children and so on, and they'll be dead. and it was very sad. And it's such a big country, they can't do anything about it because the chiefs rule in many ways.
Really?
Yeah. So going to and from Damaturu was interesting. But actually at Damaturu, and I may have told you this story in passing as well, it's Sharia law, no booze. So the journalist that I was seeing there said, "Mr. Keith, would you like a drink tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I'd love one, but it's Sharia law.
Where? Yeah.
We'll pick you up at 7," they said. So off we set into the darkness, because in this small town, the only electricity came from generators, and the only generators were by the storeholders.
Yeah.
So we bumped over ground and went through what appeared to be some gates, and eventually got out. Here's a flagpole. So I sat with my feet on the base of the flagpole, drinking beer, camaraderie, and so on and so forth, watching an African thunderstorm. And the wonderful thing about an African thunderstorm is the lightning goes from cloud to cloud. It doesn't go to the ground. Oh, it's fascinating. It's astonishing. The whole light sky lights up, and you're not in any danger. I said to the boys afterwards, that was really nice, but where were we? And they said, the police officers met. Get a drink in his house.
Amazing. Oh, right. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I suppose that was a perk of being a policeman.
Yes. The two other things, the heat was incredible. And when I was training, suddenly, I suppose there were about 20 there, 4 of them got up and walked out. And I thought, oh, Jesus, I didn't know I was that boring. And 20 minutes later, they came back. And afterwards, I discovered, because they were Muslims, it was time for prayers. They didn't say anything, they just got up, they went outside, did their prayers, and they came back. It was a strange thing.
So spiritual then. Very
Absolutely.
spiritual.
The other thing is that there were several kids sitting around this little square. And I noticed a guy say to one of them, he pointed, "Go and pick up the waste paper." So the kid did, put it on, and the man gave him, whatever it was, 20 naira. I said, what was that all about? He said, that's the way the social welfare works. These kids, they have no idea who their families are. They sleep on the cars, and so on and so forth. Yeah, well, it barely ever rains.
Yeah.
But, and he said the citizens are care enough. What they do, they give them little jobs. They won't give them a handout. They give them little jobs.
So if someone gives birth to them, and then they're basically, when they get old enough, they just discard them.
Yeah. In fact, they discard them down on their own. Very, very on in life. Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. This is stuff living in a Western society, as I have no experience of living outside of this great country of ours. But you just don't know. I mean, I've been to New York. I spent 2 months in New York approximately, and again, I know about all the stuff that goes on with with all the blacks living in what they call which are council estates projects, and some of this stuff. But that's the beauty of going abroad, really, in my experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, you saw all this in Africa.
Well, actually, the other story that I'd like to tell you is we know today still that Nigeria is a centre of corruption. I mean, it's a huge country. I hadn't realised it's about 250 million people, and how many square miles it is, God only knows. It's huge, but.
What, as big as Australia?
Well, not quite as big as Australia, but certainly about 10 times the size of the UK. Yeah. And one day the journalist said, there's a press conference today held by the Commissioner for Education. And they said just recently the central government has made free meals for kids. He said that there's a fiddle going on. And I said, well, let's go to the press conference and ask some questions. We couldn't do that, Mr. Teacher. I said, well, that's your job as a journalist, supposed to. I said, but I'll tell you what, I'll show you what to do. I will say I'm here from Reuters, and I would like to ask a couple of questions, which I did. So they sent me a couple of facts, and I said to this commissioner, Mr. Commissioner, just last week, you put in enough money to the federal government for 75 lunches, but there are only 50 families there to pay out to. How do you explain that? And he looked around 50 and he said, yes, he said, there were lots of funerals that day. They're all away at funerals, that's why they didn't pick up their free meals.
Must have been an avalanche.
But I liked Nigerians very much. And I liked my experience in Damaturu. And I went back there a second time. Calabar was somewhat different. It is a seaport, and it's actually where the governor lived. Once again, the sense of corruption. And the way they did it there was they set up one of these industrial parks that they get a subsidy for. And the names of companies and so on. But she went and knocked on the door and there was nobody there.
Dummy companies.
Yeah. So they were picking up all the money for the subsidies for these companies. And they didn't exist.
That were imaginary.
Yeah. But that's where we had to be really careful because just along the coast was a place called Point Roberts, which was really famous for kidnapping people like myself.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they were very careful to keep me out of the kidnapping.
Oh, so you didn't find yourself part of the headlines?
No, I didn't. But the thing is, because it exists, you wonder every creek at night is how they trying to get me. But no, I got away from there. Okay, I got back. But the other thing about that was we had gone back to Abuja from Damaturu, and then we flew down to Lagos, which is okay because we went on the solid airline. But from Lagos down to Calabar, we went in an airline called ADC. And ADC were famous for the pilots pointing the nose of the aircraft towards the earth and not pulling it up when we got there. So we sat like this. But my African colleague was an elder in a church, and he asked me to meet him in the church. And I did, and it was a fascinating experience. We'll relate to you some other time. But I was called down to the front, and hands put on me as God, please look after Mr. Keith and look after Edwin, his colleague, on their way to Calabar, which he did. He got the plane there. And then I said to Edwin, right, you lot got me here. How the hell are we going to get back? And we got to the airport, and here are a whole line of bishops sitting on board the aircraft. There'd been a convention. So I said, we're okay on the way back. So we got down to Calabar safely via the airline and back. But it's fascinating. African life is absolutely fascinating. And I love it. I love it.
And so what was after Africa?
Right, after Africa. Do you mind if we go back a couple of years and go to India? Go to India.
Well, we're moving on.
No, we're moving back because I went to India when I was still at Reuters with the Reuters Foundation. to teach. And the reason I say that is I'd forgotten about it, as you do when you've been to billions of countries. But one of the things that is interesting because Harry Atchison on this program, on Teddie's program and my program, in a program called Here's Harry, looks at the world and its economies and so on with a very expert eye. And he says China is being nudged aside in the Pacific because India is on the way up. And you wouldn't think it from being in Delhi. We're in a taxi. A taxi on call for us 24 hours a day costs $5. And we were going out one night, and my cameraman is also a very well-travelled cameraman, and he said he rolled down the window, and you see these little kids running around, and they come up to the car. They don't it so much. And he gave them $5. And the kid said, he raced off down the road, what I can only call a nightshirt, waving this, and all his pals after him. $5, for God's sake, they were going to... they were going to fish the night away, believe me. But the other thing is, you have to get used to going to a shopping mall, and there's a cow, a sacred cow, and they wander around. They're not allowed to touch them. You've heard of a sacred cow?
Yeah.
Well, there they are in India. Yeah.
And that's what I call a shopping experience.
Yeah. But I was living in luxury, and I felt very guilty about it, seeing these kids. But we took a train up to the Taj Mahal, to Agra. And there, in the grounds, they're trying to flog you lions and tigers and this carved, and they're very nice. But the lady who ran the Reuters Foundation, Jo Weir, a marvelous lady, and she said, "Keith," she said, "I never see anything like it. You've got a walking stick and a straw hat, and you will go through the crowd and say, 'No. I'm sure they're beautifully made, and we do not want any.'" She said, "You just look like the old Raj." But the Indian journalists were very, very intelligent indeed, and they, I set them tasks, stories to go out and do, and they came back and they do a very good job. They really would. But there, the job of a journalist is very tough because society is so poor and weak. How are we doing? How are we going?
We're nearly out of time.
Well, coming up, Ethiopia, and where I met the oldest woman in the world. I swear she winked at me.
Yeah, really.
The Gulf, where I went to the top of Mount Evo to see what God had promised Moses, and other places that like Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and so on and so forth. We can take a quick shot through, but it's up to you. It's just what you want. We've gone to the major countries that I need to, but there are a lot of.
This is a life story that could go on my lifetime.
Yeah, good. So perhaps the next time what we'll do is I'll wrap it up with a quick shot to all the rest of the
maybe, and then because that way. I don't want to spoil a good thing for the viewers, but even the viewers be wondering.
Yes, when's this ever going to end?
When's this life story of yours actually going to end?
Well, they end a movie after me,
Sorry?
and the movie asked me, the never-ending story.
Oh, well, you know what? It was well before its time, in my opinion. It really was. And now...
but can I say, you said, well, you're an inquiring guy. Is sitting and talking about my experiences, I forget them. And you, if I may say so, have shown expertise in winkling out the bits and pieces that are of interest. And
I suppose I have.
You did a great job.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, and you've been a great subject. You really have. To be honest with you, you really have been a great subject.
Well,
you've been ideal.
We got a laugh in the morning.
Exactly. Yeah, you've been an ideal test case for me to see how I handle someone of immense experiences like you've had. So I would say to you, well,
thank
you. I know. So yeah, now. We have to finish. We're finishing this part, which is about part 5, I think, isn't it?
It is about that, I think.
Yeah, and then so it's part 6 next week, where you're going to wrap
it up and say cheerio.
Well, no, and then you can tell my viewers about your Mirador, how it all got started.
Okay, the Mirador story.
Yeah, the Mirador story.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on now, we go to your other favourite subject. Rugby. Now, I believe you're going to give us an update on the rugby.
Well, yes, there is no rugby here at the moment. Like football, it'll start in about 2 weeks' time. But the Southern nations are playing one another, and you will recall on television here, Argentina, not the football club, the rugby club played England. And England only scraped by about 5 points. And everybody said, oh, bloody England, very typical. But Argentina played South Africa, the world champions, who are known for their thuggery. Yeah,
the All Blacks.
Yeah, and they came within 5 points of beating them. And that was this last weekend. Yeah. So Argentina continue. It's a national trait, isn't it?
It is.
They believe in thuggery as much as...
they do. Yeah. You know what? I think it's prevalent in all the sport that the RGs play, is to try and make it as violent as possible, and gaining sports reports on, in any sport, thuggery is not the way to go.
It's not.
In both our opinions, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. And strangely enough, the South Africans were known for their pretty rough and tough play. But the Argentinians obviously outdid them by 10-1.
Yeah, but it's more in the rules, though, isn't it?
Well, it is. But, I mean, you could still... What they did in the World Cup was they would grab somebody and throw them to the floor.
Yeah.
And they were doing that in the rugby as well.
At least they're consistent.
Well, they are.
And now, talking of sport, actually, one of my viewers come up to me and said, Teddy, you know the Olympics have just been on, and the BBC were always famous for showing the Olympics, but not this year.
Oh, really?
No. And you know what? I checked, and the BBC have done just a small service every now and again, just put on a highlight show like Match of the Day, and that wasn't even a regular highlight show.
Where was it?
Well, they just didn't show it.
Yeah, but where was it held?
I'm not sure actually, because I didn't even realise it was on. It's only one of my regular subscribers, and actually been on about with her life story, Sheila.
All right.
And she loves the Olympics, but this year, wherever it was from, the BBC just didn't show it.
Well, actually, there wasn't a great to do because of the World Cup, I take it. But what you're saying is shocking. Is the Commonwealth Games has been on in Glasgow?
Yeah.
And did we know it? No.
So anyway, sort of like that's the sport, and the rugby. And now, just a couple of other announcements, actually. You've heard myself now, Mirador World. This is going to be the new trading name of Mirador, and which Keith is, of course, is the numero. He's the main man, and he's going to dictate, obviously, like he has with Mirador Local this year. He will dictate exactly how that goes, and that will be blogs. So take it.
Yes, basically, he's been very modest because picking up television, fairly recently, Teddiie has shown just how good he is at local television, and this is what we set out to be initially: is local television. So he is actually going to mastermind, because he's showing it. It's such a portion for it. He's going to mastermind local Mirador. It won't be called Local Mirador. It will be called, Teddiie?
Lewis and Beyond TV.
Right, Lewis and Beyond TV. And I will retain Mirador, but it will be called Mirador World, and I will continue to deal internationally.
Exactly.
And taking the Lewis story abroad, but actually also bringing what's happening around the world, which is... it garners far less audiences than the local stuff, but nonetheless it has to be done.
Of course.
And I'm in the twilight of my career. So,
and it will be promoted on Lewis and Beyond TV.
That's right.
The international side as well.
Yeah. But from your perspective, he's the boss now, locally. I will look after the international stuff and make sure that you know about it, of course. But and I may say that he's doing a grand job of putting the thing together.
And of course, we will still be working together on a Monday.
Yes, and I'm going to be doing on a Tuesday. I'm going to be doing IT, which you will really it's for you, but I will take a chunk of it and do it for you. But yes, it'll be a great cooperation between the two of us.
And of course, Keith will be doing his Parkinson's stuff.
Yes.
In fact, over the forthcoming few months, there will be, from Keith's point of view, Parkinson's will be getting involved in Keith's personal stuff as well, which I'm sure he will tell you all the story of as it goes down.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks to his lovely daughter and son-in-law.
Yes, they're going to help me with rejuvenating a scooter or getting a new one or renting one or whatever. Because as Teddiie pointed out, he's been going to have a pint on his own because I can't get there. And so it's a good driver. He needs his drinking mate with him. so we're going to get the scooter one way or another.
Exactly, yeah. And plus, in a pub, I'm never short of a conversation. I create one. If there isn't one going, I create one.
No, actually, another that, because of the stuff we've been talking about, Teddiie, I used to be a great bitter drinker. But then I started to go to this country and that country, and I would say, beer, please. And it's all lager.
I know, it is. Yes.
So eventually, my taste buds changed to lager. So I'm nowhere near the expert that he is. He can take 2-3 bitters and tell you which is the best.
Yeah.
What the qualities are, and so on.
And also, I am member of the Campaign for Real Ale. And of course, I help out beer festivals in East Sussex, which is something I love doing. And it gets me out meeting the people, have a laugh, and of course it's free beer when I'm helping out at the beer festival, so that's always a plus.
Yeah.
It really is. And so it's so you get the wine and the beer with
there
us.
you go.
There we go. And but mind you, when we go to the pub together, he always drinks Moretti, I think, isn't it?
It is Moretti.
Yes.
And actually, there are 2 pubs in town that know where I say, "Can I have a Mrs. Moretti?" and they know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's on the label. It's got Bira, and A at the end of that language, I think it's Italian, means feminine. So I said, "Well, it's a feminine beer. So can I have a Mrs. Moretti, please?" And now it's both in the Brewers and the Black Horse. They know Mrs. Moretti. They know exactly what it is.
Well, it's amazing with the Brewers Arms because it says free house on the outside.
That's
But
right.
it's actually not a free house. It is, and I know because this is something I brought up we were chatting about at the Lewis Beer Festival I helped out at this
Right.
year. And Graham, who I've got to know over the last few years, he said, yeah, actually the Brewers is a Fuller's House.
Oh, really?
Yes, indeed. However, they keep it quiet.
Yeah,
And
they
so,
do.
yeah, and so hence it is a Fuller's House. That is a Fuller's on there as a Fuller's House.
Ah.
And for some reason, the Brewers much prefer to be seen as a free house.
Yeah, because the building is family owned, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. But obviously, at some point, the family has
Made a deal. Yeah.
has been approached by Fuller's to get a presence in Lewistown Centre, and it must have came to an agreement that it remains on the tin as a free house.
But I guess they don't want another situation like the Lewis Arms, where they had a boycott of the beer when they.
Yeah,
No, that was Green King, wasn't it?
it was.
Yeah,
That's right.
Green King tried to take over the pub, and the locals wouldn't have it.
No, they wouldn't.
And they picketed.
And that's something to do with Harvey's as well, because they wanted to get rid of Harvey's, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's it. And of course, we've got, at some point, I'm hoping to get Mr. Harvey's in Mr. Jenner.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
He's a very interesting guy.
Because we'll also be doing, when it changes over to Lewis and Beyond TV, we will be recommencing the Wednesday debate.
Right.
That's got to finish. That comes to hopefully a crescendo, as I could be in Malaga this Wednesday. I'm not going to be around Wednesday, so Wednesday will be handled by the legend that is Mr. Keith, of course, on Wednesday.
Let loose again.
So no pressure. But there'll be no, and then hopefully I'll be recommencing the High Street debate next Wednesday and hopefully putting it to bed.
Right.
Because I was speaking to Abigail Petit,
right,
Abigail's Drapery in town, and her sister, they had a similar problem to what we have in Sussex about dwindling high streets. And her sister got together. She rang estate agents. She rang local business leaders. She rang the local council, the town council or local council, and she got them all together along with prospective people that wanted to come into retailer. And she solved it just from that by getting everyone in. The landlords, the council got together and worked out a strategy that allowed people to come in and being able to actually create an environment that was balanced. The council still got a discretionary sum, and the landlords and the state agents got together to make things a lot more attractive.
That's very interesting, because you know there's a huge challenge coming up, don't you? Lewis District Council is going to disappear next year.
I know, well,
Yeah,
because
and be
it's
taken
been
over by a
swallowed.
statutory. That's
It's
right.
going to be
Yeah.
swallowed up by
Yeah.
Brighton Hove, isn't it?
However, the one thing that nobody understands at the moment, and it's not clear, is will that mean increased influence from the town council?
Yeah.
And if it is, that's going to make things very interesting.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Because then you've got somebody else's face.
Yes, indeed. And you know, from the discussion I had with my studio audience, me and Claire, we thought on top of that, if you had, like when my boy went to Thailand, he had to get himself a sponsor before he could buy a business.
Oh, right.
And my idea would be to add to that is you get local independent business people that have been in business in as a safeguard and sponsors with new people new into retail.
Yeah.
And just to get the experience of them to help the new retailers
Right.
would be a plus as well.
Yes, indeed.
You know, that way you're not only producing a competitive and welcoming atmosphere, but you're also helping when they're actually up and running with stuff like doing books. Like when I actually, thinking back, when I actually started self-employment, the taxman used to offer a course locally, helping people like myself, setting up, doing books and general advice. They got people in from out. And that was the taxman back then, setting up in the 90s when I started, really. And it was great. I actually went along and really helped me. You know, it told me that I need to get an accountancy bookkeeping course, which I did through the AAT. And a few people I was on the course with did the same thing. And
you don't get that sort of help anymore.
No, I don't suppose you do from the taxman now, but it was brilliant. You know, the 80s and the 90s were great for getting much more support than people do now setting up a business.
Well, you talk about setting up a business. Right throughout the world, councils similar to this one have a department which sets out to try and attract film companies and television companies and authors and writers and so on. So it generates a lot of money. Here, I mean, I've walked down the high street and they've been making Grace and a couple of other programs that have been made on the South Coast involving Lewis. Now, I'm sure they pay the licenses to park and so on and so forth, but there doesn't seem to be any concerted effort to say, hey, here's a historic town. This is the place that you should be using with your cameras. Look what we've got. We've got a castle, we've got an abbey, we've got old buildings, we've got a river, we've got, they don't do it. And that could generate a heck of a lot of money that would actually ease the burden on local taxpayers. And I think that's one of the things we should agitate for, don't you?
Yes.
Particularly with your forum.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because I really believe that, Britain has some of the finest entrepreneurs, and not just the ones that make the TV shows like The Apprentice and the other mob on BBC that do their show.
Oh, I know who it is.
But you know what? But for me, anybody, I was a small entrepreneur, but the thing is, it's not about making a splash or headlines. It's about just maintaining what you do. Once you've found a winning formula, then it's easy in many ways. As long as you don't aim too big, because if you aim too big, you make a lot of headlines, but invariably you go bust. Because that's what happens to most entrepreneurs at some point. If seriously,
they haven't got the solid infrastructure.
Exactly, and it's about a sporting term that was always used. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And preparation is everything.
Absolutely.
So we're coming up now to 5 to 10. So we'll be rounding off shortly. I hope that all our viewers have enjoyed the morning as much as I have, and hopefully as much as Keith has.
It's always good fun for me.
And of course, I will return next week, so I shall be still around. And the other thing is, before we finish, I believe we have a certain young lady from over the pond, Melissa, who will be coming back on.
Indeed, yeah. Now, Melissa is very interesting because she has been at the height of this profession. When I met Melissa way back in 1990, she was the anchor. I was a co-anchor in London, but she was the main anchor in New York for a coast-to-coast business program called Morning Business Report. In American terms, it was modest. It was 8 to 10 million people per show. But if that had been here, it would have been number 2 or number 3, something like that.
Yeah.
And she was there for a decade, as indeed was I, and we worked together. And then she decided she got to the top, and she got a law degree, and she went to work for an asset company called Templeton Trust, and she is still there, but she keeps up her broadcasting with Mirador and comes on and does a show directly from New York. Worth catching, by the way. And because we've been reorganizing, Melissa has slipped by, but she sent a message during the week and said, I'm quite willing to come on again. So probably over the next couple of weeks, we shall have Melissa back on.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, you deal with you've got the barristers on a Thursday morning as well, of course.
Yes, the barristers. And Harry Ashton from Normandy with the news.
And when's he coming back?
Harry is back. Yeah.
Is he on Thursdays?
Yeah, he does Thursday as well. We're trying to keep it to Thursday so we don't impinge upon the things that you're doing. And people can expect on Thursday the world as opposed to the local.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. But it still be interest. I'm sure it's still all this world stuff will be of interest to a lot of our viewers locally. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And of course, as it's on the same frequency, then they can tune in for that as well. So you will be getting the best of both worlds.
Oh, indeed. One of the interesting things is that research shows that if you do a knitting program in Lewis, if it's got people interested in knitting in, say, Darwin in Australia, they'll watch it. Doesn't matter where it emanates from, they'll watch it.
And hence, that's why it's going to be Lewis and beyond.
That's right.
You know? And to finish off with the aliens, I'm sure they will be watching as well.
Well, I'm going to come down to your apartment and watch the door, see whether the little green men come out again.
So, E.T., don't phone home. And that's a wrap. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mr.
Bye-bye. He's encouraging.